What's up, you guys? We're back with another episode of the DISHIN podcast. We've been on a little bit of a hiatus here, just with me being on the road and the boys just getting back from Vegas. But we're back with another episode in person. We talk a lot about the Stanley Cup Final. We talk a lot about the NHL draft that just happened and our trip to Vegas. So, yeah, pretty fun episode.
Yeah, really great episode. Got into a lot. And this guy's holding the wrestling belt. Bubble Hockey Tournament, July 13th. We got the grand prize here with the wrestling belt. Also a $500 grand prize as well. So let's go. Episode 11, live now. Let's get into it.
Let's go.
All right, welcome back to another episode of the DISHIN podcast. We are back after a long time.
Been a minute, dude.
It's been a minute. We're back, though.
Yeah, I know, dude. We got a lot to talk about. It's episode 11 now. So
Yeah.
Been a couple weeks since we recorded, but you've been on an all-time run, dude. It's been so cool to follow your journey, everything you've been doing with the league and all these personal experiences you're getting to be a part of with the going to the Stanley Cup Finals and just following your whole journey. So just want to say I'm really proud of you, and being able to see everything you've done from start to finish has been amazing. And dude, the amount of people that have texted me just saying, like, asking me questions about like what kind of experience you've been on and the journey that you've been going through has been so cool for me. And it's been hard for me to even let people know what you're doing, because I know we talk like every day, and just from me hearing from you what it's like has been just unbelievable, and trying to relay that to other people is just really hard to do sometimes, because there's just so much that goes into it and so much that you're navigating. So just want to say that's really cool, and excited to get into all this, because I think a lot of people that are watching may have the same questions and sort of feedback, and be interested to hear that I'm hearing from other people. So it'll be really cool to kind of give people that experience of what it's like.
For sure, and I appreciate that. It's good to be back, too.
Yeah, let's go.
To be back. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of get into it, too. Like, again, I was gone for mostly all of June with the NHL and doing stuff for the Stanley Cup Final, and then also, too, we were in Vegas for the draft, so we'll get into that maybe a little bit later. But, yeah, like I said, good to be back.
Yeah. Dude, so I feel like from Game 7 of the Bruins-Leafs series, you've kind of been on the road. It's kind of been like a month and a half almost. So maybe walk us through the experience of what that was like from day one. I know you've been living out of your suitcase for a little while now, so maybe what that's like, and maybe just kind of give us a recap of everything you've been through.
Yeah, it's honestly been like, it feels like it's been a whole new season. Just being on the road. Obviously, that first round I was on the road quite a bit, and then just throughout the whole playoffs. And then once the Stanley Cup Final hit, we knew I was going to be gone for all of June. But it's been fun, man. I think it's been cool to finally meet some people face to face for the first time that I've worked with at the league for about a year now. So it's been cool to do that, and also learn from other people too around the league, different creators, different people who have maybe been with the league for longer than I have. Obviously, this is my first year, so still a lot to learn, and a lot of people to meet and things like that, and people to connect with. But it's been fun, man. It's honestly everything I could have imagined and more. It was definitely one of those things that, like, the kid in me was super pumped that I was able to do all this stuff. And it was one thing to do everything I was doing with the league during the season, but to do it during the playoffs was just a whole nother special piece to this first year with the league.
Yeah, and to do it as your rookie season too is just something that puts you on a whole nother level. And yeah, it's so cool, man. Like you're going to all these different rinks and different venues and learning the ins and outs of different arenas and stuff, and you just have to be so dialed in and so on your game too. So maybe walk us through, I know the Stanley Cup Finals maybe most recent in your mind, but maybe it's the coolest experience of the entire trip and kind of what that was like, and maybe set the background for us of everything.
Yeah, I I always think back to the first game that I covered in Boston for the Boston Leaf series. I think that for me was a fun moment, just because it was the first playoff game, first time being in an arena covering playoffs and just hearing all the fans and the excitement and things like that. But I would say probably Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final between the Oilers and Panthers. Being in Edmonton for that Game 6 was just so electric, and just that whole series alone was just incredible. It was just a very historic piece in sports history, I think. Just the Oilers almost coming back and almost winning the cup.
Yeah.
And just being there to witness them win their third game in a row in Edmonton for Game 6 was just so incredible. And that fan base too is just so electric. That those people literally live and breathe hockey. And I think I was telling you about this earlier, but I went and bought an Oilers jersey just because like I'm like this city is just incredible. Like they're like the fan base is so hype. I wanted to get a Connor Brown jersey, but I ended up getting a Draisaitl jersey. But yeah, that place was just like literally lives and breathes hockey. It reminded me of Bill's Mafia a little bit.
Yeah.
Being there.
I know you sent me some videos of just like going out in the street and just like being a man of the people.
Yeah,
just like
a little bit.
Taking like iPhone videos of people in the street, people honking their horns and stuff. So kind of what was that like? Was that after Game 6?
That was after Game 6. Yeah, I told myself and like some of the guys like we were working with too. I was like, dude, I like when we or if Edmonton wins this game, like I want to go out in the streets and just see what this is like, just to get the experience, because it's one of those things where it's a once in a lifetime experience where like you never know. Like I know like maybe I may not cover another cup again, or I may not be able to experience that kind of energy in a hockey city again. So I wanted to just like take it all in and just see what that's like. And it was cool going around the city and seeing all these people just absolutely buzzing. Like there's people honking their horns. You got people who made like different mascots that are running around. Oilers fans got their faces painted and they've got costumes on. They're just going crazy. There's people that have dedicated cars just to drive around town with Oilers logos on them, just to hype the city up and beep, like just to, you know, again, beeping their horns and yelling, screaming, shouting, "Let's go Oilers!" And that place, man, is just it's a going there. I remember people were telling me like, "Oh, Edmonton's a dump. You're gonna hate it there. It's not gonna be fun." It was probably the most fun I had throughout the entire playoffs, just because of how electric and how passionate that city was.
Yeah,
towards their hockey club.
And what a final it was too, dude. Like the Oilers were dead after 3 games, and to actually just revive themselves and force a Game 7 alone was just like a crazy run to see them pull off. So even though they didn't win, I think a lot of hockey fans got their money's worth, and for them to just be able to see that go the distance was unbelievable. So, I mean, even just like seeing Florida win and everything, I think there's so much that comes with. I talk about this all the time. It's like storylines on both sides. So you had McDavid, or you had the Panthers winning the cup for the first time, and maybe talk a little bit about Florida. What was that like? And I know we talked about this before, but I think the NHL does a great job like bringing different creators in and kind of being a part of that from like an experience side of things, and just like the overall creativity and just like showing out for the NHL being on the biggest stage like that. So kind of what was that like?
Yeah, I think, Florida was pretty cool. Like, Florida fans are funny. It's when they're playing well, they're loud. But if they're not playing well, it gets very quiet in that arena. But I will say the league as a whole did a great job of just having different entertainers come in. Aside from the hockey, like they had Kid Leroy and DJ Khaled for games 1 and 2 in Florida, which was unreal. And then they had Shania Twain come in for game 3, or no. Yeah, Shania Twain was at Game 4 in Edmonton, and then they had Loud Luxury at Game 6, and that was just incredible. Like, they did such a phenomenal job getting these entertainers in, and just every entertainer crushed it. I think my favorite person seeing live was honestly Shania Twain. She was like top 10 performer I've ever seen live. But to go back to your question, like Florida was interesting. It was, again, like the fans were quiet if they weren't doing well, but if they were doing well, like they were loud. Same thing with the Oilers fans too. But Florida was cool just because they called it the redemption tour, like, and it's time to hunt. Like, so obviously they lost to the Vegas Golden Knights last year in the final, and they got waxed, right? That that last game that they played against the Golden Knights. But I think that they were just very hungry. Obviously, like I think they were. I don't know if like the pressure was on after they won Game 3, because it's like, okay, now like we have to win the next one. And that's it.
I mean, you felt nervous for them, right? It's
a little bit,
yeah, dude. I could feel it. I mean, I think everybody that was a hockey fan could feel it. Just like would be the ultimate failure if you like go up 3 games and it's like you have it in the bag, and then if you were to lose it, and it plays into McDavid and Draisaitl and the Oilers team too, of like being able to come back after 3 games of absolutely just being down and out. So I mean, it's cool. And yeah, dude, like you said, you've been gone for a minute to do all this travel. It's your rookie season. Like, to be able to experience all that is so cool. And you're going to these different venues. You're going places you've never been before, arenas that you don't know the map, the layout, where you have to be, what time you got to be there. You're navigating all this on the fly. So maybe what's that like a little bit, and maybe like what's the most difficult part of experiencing all that, going through it, and trying to navigate it the best you can.
I think like one of the most difficult parts was obviously just the travel, the uncertainty, not knowing like when your next flight was going to be, depending on how the games went. But I'd say like the most challenging part was probably navigating the maps of all the arenas, because you got to know where you're going, right? Like, you need to know how to get to the upper concourse, how to get to the lower bowl, how to get to the locker room, back to the media room, get everywhere that you need to be on time. And every arena is different. Like, no arena is the same layout. Every arena is a completely different layout. And that's something I never really like factored in during the season. Like, even doing stuff in Buffalo, I never really thought like that was like super important. But it's probably one of the most important things that comes with covering a game, especially a Stanley Cup final. And I remember just getting to the rink like real early in the morning, just, walking around and just getting your steps in, trying to, play out what like certain scenarios, certain situations. Like, I remember when I got to Edmonton, I went and checked my spot out from like where they were going to have me shoot from. And I was just trying to, find different ways around the arena to get to where I had to be in the most quickest and most efficient amount of time. But I'd say like that was probably the most difficult part for sure, aside from having to also focus on my assignment that game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then are you going through like walkthroughs like the day before, day of, kind of get a feel for where you're going to be?
Yeah, a little bit. Like they would send, like, we'd have a map that we can refer to. And then obviously it's definitely a more prepped and I'd say like there's a lot more prep obviously that goes into the cup banner or cup raising and that whole ceremony. So I remember like there was a few times where we just had to kind of practice that and know where everybody's going at certain times. And it's something that you really gotta, again, aside from your actual assignment, like you gotta keep in the back of your head, like, I have this, that, and the other thing at certain times, and I need to make sure I'm, at like the Zam door at this time. I need to make sure that I'm walking out of the ice on this time. I need to make sure that after I get that cup raise, that initial cup raise, I'm going back to the media room to get that uploaded for social. So there's so many things. Like, a lot of people think that working in sports is this big, glamorous, lifestyle, and that's not it at all. I can't, like, I would say like maybe like 10% of like what I do for the league is shooting the games and editing, and like the rest is communication and knowing where to go and where to be at certain times.
Yeah, like that's the end product that people see, but yeah, there's so much more that goes into it, I'm sure. All right, so it's Game 7. The cup's in the building, obviously. The cup is getting raised that night. The clock's winding down. There's 3 minutes left in the game. Where are you at? What's going through your mind? You probably feel like a kid that's like about to go on the ice for the first time. You're about to make your debut. Like, you got to be like so fired up, and just like the adrenaline that rushes through you is probably insane.
Yeah, like, so 3 minutes left to go. I'm still in my spot, and I remember I had to be in my spot for the first 2 or 3 minutes of the cup celebration. And then once that hit, I had to run down to the Zam door to get ready to go on the ice. So, yeah, I remember, just hearing the clock count down. Honestly, that last 3 minutes felt like the longest 3 minutes of my life, because I was so dialed in on just trying to make sure I get the shot, make sure everything's in focus, make sure fans aren't in my way. And luckily it worked out. But like those last 3 minutes again were such a long time to just like sit there and be patient. But as soon as the clock hit, the celebration started, sat and let my camera kind of roll and just kind of watched everything through my lens. And then once I felt like I got what I needed, I had to basically just like run down to our media room, drop footage quick, and then also be on my way to the Zam door to get ready to go out onto the ice. So it was a pretty quick turnaround. Like, I remember just trying to it was so hard to navigate in a way through fans, because fans are celebrating, they're so pumped, and trying to get through the concourse and navigate through fans was definitely a little difficult. But then obviously going on the ice was something pretty crazy. I thought I was going to honestly black out when I walked out on the ice, but it was, just another day on the ice at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like, it's, I've played hockey growing up my entire life, and have walked out on the ice several times, so like it wasn't anything new to me. But I think like it's definitely like one of those times where, and someone actually told me this. Matt Ferracci actually told me this is something that I should do more of because it's something that he does. But he's a guy that I worked with on the West Coast. He's an LSC for the Avalanche, but he was working on the West Coast. But one thing he told me, and that'll always stick with me now, is whenever you get into an arena, is just to go sit or stand somewhere and just take about 5 minutes to yourself and just think about where you're at. Just look around, like take in the moment, be present, like where you're at. And that's something after he told me doing that, I started to do that more towards the end of the run. And I did that on the ice, and it makes everything so much more like it just takes you to a spot where you can just relax. Mm-hmm. You could do your thing, and you're not stressing because it is a high pressure and high stressful job, like high pressure job for sure.
Yeah.
And I think that helps a little bit. Being
grounded, being where your feet are, just like it's almost like meditating almost. It's just like taking in your experience of where you are at that living moment. And yeah, that's your venue, that's your arena, that's your shooting ground. So that's cool. Yeah, and all these, like you said, all these arenas are so different, and yeah, they all have unique layouts and everything. I remember when we went to Vegas a few years ago for All-Star, T-Mobile was still pretty new. So being able to like be down in the lower concourse and just walking through that entire bowl was really sick, and just kind of getting the feel for the whole thing was pretty cool. So what was like any favorite shots that you got on the run throughout the finals or anything?
Yeah, I'd say obviously like the cup lift is like one that kind of sticks with me, but I'd say like one in particular was the Corey Perry goal that McDavid going through two
sick.
Defensemen, and that was just like Troy Anderson, who's one of the LSCs. He told me like he's covered now 3 or 4 Stanley Cup Finals, and he said there's going to be a moment throughout this series that you're gonna get on camera, whether it's a photo or a video, and you're gonna know that that's the moment. And I remember sitting in the room, I'm like, damn, like I was telling all the guys, I'm like, I've covered McDavid 5 or 6 times before this, haven't gotten a single highlight from him. And then sure enough, I got super lucky with that clip, and the clip went crazy. Like it was like McDavid went through like 3 or 4 guys coming up a rush, dishes it to Corey Perry, and Perry buries it. And I got literally everything all the way up to the Corey Perry celly, like right on my camera. And it was just such a cool moment. And that clip ended up making it on Sportsnet for the game. I think it was for the Game 6 hype video. And they used the song Dream On, and like that song is like a song that I always just enjoyed. It's always reminded me of hockey because that song's a miracle. So I remember like I usually don't get super emotional when it comes to video work, but like I remember seeing that video and having people send it to me and be like, dude, your clip's in this. And like, bro, I literally broke down and like cried. And I've never had like tears of joy before, but I sat in my hotel room and probably cried for like 15 minutes of just like pure happiness, like smiling. Awesome. And like, it was just like one of those things where like that made me like really just grateful for like, and just made all the time, the hours, the money spent on camera equipment and all this and learning from different creators, like all so worth it in the end. And you know, and just it made me just again like just super grateful to be where I'm at.
Yeah, you worked for this, bro. You earned it. You deserved it. Clip that, Tony. Yeah, dude, that's sick. I think one of the coolest parts is like seeing a shot, whether it's from the NHL or from Sportsnet or Bleacher Report, all these different outlets, and knowing it's you. Like you have your own style, you have your own, you know, sort of vision that you can shoot on the ice, whether it's your editing or just like your film shots in general, just like with the head tracking or whatever it is. It's so cool that I recognize it and see it because I've known you for so long, but I think other people being able to recognize and see it is so cool too. Like, and I think we saw that a lot with the Sabres games this year is like, you'd shoot something, it'd show up on Sabre Social, it'd show up on the NHL, and people would know it's your work, and people would dive into the comments and tag you and say like, you know, some cool stuff like saying it's, you know, Buffalo born or it's all this stuff that like ties back to you, and I think that's really cool. And one of the coolest things for me to see is like you as a rookie doing this for the league for the first year is like you already built out like your own style of how you film, how you edit, and you know, I think don't take it for granted of like how you've been able to be promoted in this position to go on this experience that you've been, because I mean you've earned this, you worked for it, and I think that's so dope. So
Appreciate
I
that.
think that's worth saying, dude, is that other people are admiring your work. It's really cool to see. And I mean, I think the sky's the limit from here. This is especially seeing you do it in your first year. I mean, someday we'll both be old, grown, washed up, and we'll look back on this experience of, back when the Panthers won their first cup and how you were on the ice and be able to be a part of that all. I felt like that DiCaprio meme, like pointing at my TV, like when I saw you on the, on the broadcast and shit. It was so cool. Like, I don't know. I was sending you some pictures too, like just you in the background. Like there's a really dope photo of a post-out when you raised the cup of you shooting it, and just like different photos and content throughout that whole finals round was just so memorable for me. I can't imagine what it was like for you too.
Yeah, it was. I was. It's funny when I was on the ice. I remember Okposo skated right up towards me and like covering him in Buffalo this whole season, and then seeing him lift a cup, like it was pretty cool. Like I've gotten a lot of good clips of him in Buffalo, and it was special to see him lift a cup, as well as some other guys that kind of came through Buffalo as well. And yeah, just super grateful to be able to cover that whole thing. It was fun.
Till next time.
But kind of moving on here too. So I talked a little bit about this. We had just also got back from Vegas. We went to the Sphere for the draft.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about that. That shit was crazy.
Yeah, dude, the Sphere was insane. Like I don't know if anybody's done like VR or like put that helmet on. I don't even know what it's called, like a Meta Facebook thing, but like that's what the Sphere is like. It's like you walk into this venue and it's like you're completely immersed in this venue that is just a next level experience. I can't even explain it. It's like you put a helmet on, you like look around, you like see the whole thing. What's crazy about it too is all the graphics are so high resolution.
Yes.
So high def. Like it's just insane. I don't even know how you would be an artist and design for that Sphere, like how you'd even do like all the computer graphics and stuff, but that place is just nuts.
It's funny you mentioned that too, like for artists and things like that. Like what aspect ratio are you exporting graphics and videos?
Yeah.
Like what's the aspect ratio on that? I'm just curious because it's just everything's so like rounded and things like that. I would have such a hard time as a creator trying to make content for that specific venue just because of the aspect ratios alone.
I don't know if this is a thing, but I feel like if you are an artist for the Sphere, I feel like you should have like a little mini Sphere like as your computer so that you can like design on it.
Yeah.
Like a little one, like a desktop monitor that you can like do all these graphics for and stuff. Yeah, they have that? Yeah. That'd be pretty sick. Dude, the NHL crushed it. To do the first live TV event at the Sphere, first sporting event at the Sphere, was insane. To be a part of it was really cool. And it was nuts. Like we said this, all the graphics that went into it, all like the visuals and everything. That was the coolest part of it for me. Just like the countdown clock, when the pick was in, the trade alert, all these custom graphics they had were so sick. And to be on the floor, to be able to kind of like be in the middle of the whole thing. Like we walked through the floor a little bit, like saw all these different GMs, like people from hockey that we know. Stood next to PK Subban like the whole time, was chopping it up with him, and just a really cool experience for me to just like be in the middle of it all and got to shoot a little bit, so that was sick. But yeah, once in a lifetime experience. I know the Sphere's brand new. When we went there to Vegas in 2021, I think they were just building it, so it was nuts. The whole thing was insane. They had the whole broadcast on like the inside of the Sphere, but one thing we didn't know too was like they filmed all the whole draft on the outside as well.
Yeah, I liked the the intro was super cool, but one thing I really liked about that place was they had employees all around that place asking you if you knew where you were going. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was so cool because they were so welcoming, and the place was so confusing to navigate. I don't know if you had any issues navigating it, but I was really only able to be in there for the first overall pick. And then after that was over with, I had to go straight to a media room with Jans and basically just wait for guys to get picked and then guys to come up and get interviewed. So, but what an incredible experience. And especially for like these prospects too. Can you imagine being 17 or 18 years old and you're going to Vegas? For one, you can't really do much in Vegas if you're underage, because I mean you could, but you could walk around and stuff and see things. But could you imagine, like, that's got to be so overwhelming for some of these prospects being at such a young age? you know, you got guys staying at the Venetian, which Derek, that was our favorite hotel we ever stayed at. You got, you know, people staying at, I don't even know if they stayed at the Bellagio, but like Encore,
Fountain
the
Blue.
Wynn, Fountain Blue. Like,
Yeah.
these places are incredible. I couldn't have, like, the 18-year-old me would not have probably made it to the draft if I was there. Like, you know, like, there's just so much to do in that city, I feel like.
It's fitting. I think it's how it should be. It's like you reach the pinnacle of your career. You're about to be picked by an NHL club. And, yeah, I thought about that too. Like, this stage was, like, in the middle, and kind of, like, the draft floor was, like around the perimeter and stuff. So, yeah, like, from my perspective, I got to see these players, like, walk through the middle. Well, first you get pulled out of the crowd, you walk down, and you walk up these steps, and like the first thing you see when you look up, you're about to shake Gary Bettman's hand, and then you have like these 4 executives behind you about to welcome you to the team. So yeah, in the foreground is like Derek shot all these things in Buffalo actually, of like these players like doing like their flashes and stuff. They're showing your highlights, they're showing your points and all this stuff, like all your stats, where you're from, all this. It's so sick. Like, I can't imagine what some of these guys get to experience. And for us to be able to, I mean, seeing Caden and Zeef here like a couple weeks ago, and then like seeing them at the draft too, and just like have these guys go through that experience, and us getting to see it was really sick.
That was cool. It's funny that you bring that up too, just, you know, with these players, and with like, it's got to be so overwhelming for these guys. I remember when I was in the media room, I was with Jans, and he had to interview again all the prospects kind of coming in, at least from that first round. And one of the guys that was drafted by Seattle, Marshawn Lynch, was with Seattle throughout that. So like, that dude is a riot, and like Jans is like a huge fan of Marshawn Lynch. And I didn't know that until like we saw Marshawn, and Jans is like, that's Marshawn Lynch. Like, I'm like, dude, we got to get him for an interview, which like we ended up not getting him. But I remember like once, I think his name was Caton or Catton. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but the Seattle pick, when he went to go get his photos taken in the media room, I remember overhearing Marshawn Lynch and Jans having a conversation. And Marshawn was like, "Man, I tried to ask these kids, like, do you have any idea what the fuck just happened to you, bro? Like, you realize like what, like, this moment just changed your life, like." And these kids just seemed like so overwhelmed but happy at the same time. And I think there's a funny part, and I don't know if it's going to come out on Bleacher Report or not, but Jans was asking all these guys, like all these players when he was interviewing them, if they had their phones on them and how many unread text messages they had if they had their phone on them. And almost every guy like didn't even have their phone on them. Their parents had their phones. So I thought that was super interesting. I thought we were going to get some funny responses, but it was cool to see Zeev too come up, and we didn't really say too much. I mean, we talked a little bit when we were in Florida, but that was kind of it. But he just kind of gave me a head nod. I think he kind of knew.
Yeah. I was walking through the venue.
Remembered me, I hope.
Yeah, I'm sure he did. I was walking through the venue, and I saw Caden. He was walking with his mom, and he was with a couple Blue Jackets people. I think he was doing media, and I was just kind of like standing off to the side. I was checking my phone, watching him do his thing, and he looked up and saw me, and he pointed at me. He's like, "Yo!" And I congratulated him and stuff. We got a picture, and his mom took the pic, so that was cool. And I mean, yeah, these guys, like, you get drafted and then you're off to do media and you do all these things, and your life, like you said, your life changes right away. So
yeah,
super cool. We saw some cool custom suits as well. Zeev had a really cool suit, nice navy suit with all these guys like do these custom inside liners that are so sick. Zeev had like a custom skull one, which I thought played well into his play style. I was looking up his elite prospects. He's known as a cerebral assassin. That's what they call him. Yeah, so I don't know if that was a play like into his lining or whatever, but thought that was sick. Caden had a dope suit. It was like all black with black paisley with like red accents. That played into like the blackjack theme. Pretty dope. Other guys like Macklin had a nice two-piece suit with the what did he have? Like it was like it was classic. I think he had a cool custom inside liner too. And then TJ Ginla, he was wearing a pair of Hyper Royals, so he had like the baby blue. I think he was playing in the Utah theme a little bit. And then he dressed it down a little bit with some ones. So thought that was sick. Some guys showed out a little bit. We had some guys go in the later rounds that had some cool looks as well. So So yeah, some great looks throughout the whole draft.
Yeah, and I mean, like we might have to cut this out, or maybe we can keep it in at this point. But you designed a jacket for somebody
This draft?
this draft.
um,
I don't know if we can talk about that or not.
who was it?
The jacket, the Keon jacket.
Oh, the Keon jacket. Oh yeah, I was
uh,
thinking suit jacket.
are-
Yeah, I think we can leave it in.
Okay, so yeah, let's talk a little bit about that. So obviously you did some, like it's obvious now the Sabres posted it. You designed a jacket for the Sabres for the draft. So can you kind of walk us through that a little bit? Talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, Keon Coleman got drafted by the Bills. He was the first round pick for the Bills. He wore this yellow Macy's jacket. I'm sure a lot of people have seen it by now, but it was like that was like his thing. Is like he knew winters in Buffalo were cold and stuff. It was like a huge thing where he like, got it on sale at Macy's and stuff. And yeah, the Sabres they they wanted to do some cool stuff with the NHL draft this year, so we made a custom Sabres jacket for them, same sort of guest jacket that Keon was wearing, and then we jazzed it up a little bit, so we threw like a Sabres patch, sewn the patch on the jacket, and then we did some other cool stuff too, like threw the stars on the cuff and threw the Sabre hood on the hood and did some other cool details in there. And yeah, I thought the Sabres had great representation at the draft. That was really cool to see. Run into a lot of people there like Lexi and Kurt and Duffer and Marty and some other guys. So it was cool. We got to like see them shoot the jacket, like, and then they threw it on Consta, their first round pick, and he flashed it, showed it off a little bit. So didn't know if they were going to bring it to the draft or not. I'm really glad they did it. They got some really cool content out of it, and we were really happy to be a part of that.
Yeah, that was super cool to see. And I remember seeing Kurt walking around with it. I'm like, yo, I know where that came from. And Kurt was showing me the jacket and stuff. And yeah, super cool. I'm glad that all worked out. And it was a quick turnaround for you too. Like, not to get super off topic, but can you kind of walk us through just what that turnaround time was like? 'Cause I think that was, you got reached out to on like a Thursday, and in order to get this done, it had to be done on like a Monday. So you basically had to work all weekend on this.
Yeah, the first it's always trying to find the jacket first. So that was the toughest thing. Is just like trying to find the exact one. Obviously, keeping it authentic to the same one that Keon wore. And yeah, once I found that, I bought it right away. Got it. Had it express shipped here, and then from there, it's off to the races of trying to use different resources of getting it produced and all the details fine tuned that we want to have on it. So it's really great to always have like local help. Like Austin guy helped us do the patch, and we did all the other graphics in house, which was nice and easy for us to do.
So speaking of details, the Fanatics jerseys just dropped.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they looked pretty nice in person. I saw a lot of the draft jerseys. What did you think of those?
Yeah, I think they looked great. I thought the video they put out was really sick too. It was they did some stuff with Matthews and kind of like him holding up different jerseys, going through all the details and stuff. So yeah, I think they changed a lot of people's opinions and perspective on what the quality is going to be like. And I think it's obvious to say that there were some quality maybe discrepancies at first that people were experiencing or maybe had second thoughts about. But I think for the most part, Fanatics did a really nice job like reassuring people and just like building that trust throughout the hockey fan base of that they can handle this, and it's going to be something that people can look forward to. They got rid of the dimples on the shoulders, which is a new upgrade. People were saying that the jerseys looked really breathable and lightweight, and they're using all the same factories that they use for Adidas too. So I don't think there's too much to worry about. I think Fanatics did a nice job, starting to build that trust with people. Obviously, it's going to come down to what we see on ice and making sure all the quality standards and everything hold up to that. But I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be something that's really cool. I think we have some maybe jersey rebrands and redesigns that we're going to see in the next year or two, maybe with the Capitals, maybe with some other teams as well. So excited to see how they handle that and take it from there.
Yeah, like some of the jerseys, like the redesign I liked, and some of them I wasn't a huge fan of. Like some of them looked a little plain to me, but I think that over time they're gonna grow on me a little bit. I was actually kind of blown away with like the amount of detail that went into these jerseys when I saw them in person. So, and speaking of that, I know the What Chaos guys too. Like they talked a little bit about the jerseys. I think Pete and DJ saw the jerseys before we actually did. I think Fanatics actually gave them an opportunity to go check out the jerseys. So I don't know if they talked to you a little bit about that, but DJ and Pete both told us, or at least told me, that they were pretty blown away with how well the jerseys actually looked. So
Yeah.
you know, don't be hating on Fanatics right away. Like let's give these people a chance. Let's give them a chance. It's not, you know, everybody. We all get upset when new things come, but you know what? You gotta give them a chance.
Yeah. Everybody loves Mitchell and Ness too, and let's remember those are owned by the same company. So let's give it time.
That's a fact. But yeah, I know we touched on the custom suits. We talked a little bit about the stuff that I was doing with Yans at the draft. But yeah, I think it's time for our little show and tell feature here.
Let's go. Yeah, Bubble Hockey Tournament, July 13th. It's coming up very quickly. So Derek did an unreal job putting this custom grand prize together for the Bubble Hockey Tournament. So this is going to be the wrestling belt that we're giving away along with the $500 grand prize as well. So this thing is heavy. It's nice. It's so sick.
Heavy.
There's a lot of crazy details in this too. So you want to check it out?
Yeah, let's see. I feel like the rated R superstar.
Let's go. Whoever wins that's going to bring it home. So
Fire.
July 13th. It's going to be sick. Going to be an awesome event.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What else we got here? But yeah, the Bubble Hockey Tournament's coming up. That's going to be super fun. Do we have another color? Oh, what is that?
No. Would you know that guy out there? He's waving to me.
I have no idea who that is, but he's waving to me.
Yeah. Color Bubble. We don't have a new one to show this week because we just got back and we didn't have time to put one together, but we're going to show the Chrome one again. Color Bubbles is launching in less than 3 weeks, so it's coming up very quickly. We've had so many people reach out to ask us about it. Follow the IG if you haven't already at Color Bubbles Official. I think we've got almost 1,000 followers on there. We've only got one post, so people are pumped about these. We've got like 20 DMs about people asking when they're going to get them and stuff. A buddy of mine, Joe from Blind Hockey, is going to be wearing this in Mitch Marner's charity game.
Oh, that's going to be sweet.
Which is going to be insane.
Breaking news.
Yeah, and I'm sending him this one, so he's going to have the 101 sample.
Nice.
So it's going to be dope. Yeah, I'm pumped for him. It's going to be sick. He's going to do a little promo for us too, and yeah, excited to see what Marner says about that.
Hell yeah.
You might want to throw it on.
You might.
But yeah, let's go.
But yeah, that's about all I got for this episode. I know we had a little bit of technical difficulties throughout this episode, so apologize to you, Tony, for that. But yeah, again, like Matt was saying, July 13th, Bubble Hockey Tournament.
Oh yeah, let's go.
In Buffalo. So details are on the Just Dishin account. Feel free to go over there or go to the website at justdishin.com. You guys can see all the info there. If you want to sign up, we still have some room left in the tournament. I think we got a few more spots left. So if you guys want to play in the Bubble Hockey Tournament, go to justdishinhockey.com and yeah, sign up there.
Let's go. Episode 11.
Let's go. That's a wrap.